I don't know if the loss at Borussia Dortmund and how it happened inspired the guys, but we've been on a winning streak. And I will admit, a couple of these games we probably should not have won. The first being the one at Aston Villa. That was really a draw until Eze scored in the 53rd minute. And then even after that, they had a couple of opportunities that looked really, really good. Turbo didn't have a good day in goal. Rita Wall didn't have a good day. Everyone else did, and that's what saw us through. Against Man United, they had probably 10 shots in the last 10 minutes. Turbo stood tall, Turbe, rather. I can tell it's late because I'm looking at his name and the font's small enough that it looks like an O when I'm looking through the wrong part of my glasses here. So, Clark a goal, Verscheren a goal against Chelsea. This was an unexpected game to say the least. Clark had a goal, Eze had a goal, Elise had a brace of goals, Sean Smith had a goal in the 86th minute to put the game away. Chelsea just rolled over and laid an egg. Pulisic had a goal in the 17th minute. But we had 25 shots, 15 on target, and they had 12 and 6, and it was just, I don't know what happened. Clark opened up the scoring in the 36th minute, and from there, Chelsea was on the back foot the entire game. Against Norwich, we beat them 2-0. Clark a goal, Pellegrini a goal, and then this game was tough. Leeds is the last place team in the league. They're being relegated. Stockbridge had a brace of goals. Eze had a goal. It was the Phillips' own goal that kind of put them on the back foot. The Eze goal in the 87th minute was just salt in the wound, to say the least. They didn't have a lot of shots. They didn't have a lot on target, but they had us on the back foot almost all game. I don't think I can show it here. If I was able to pull up a heat map of the game, you would see that for the first time in a long time, the vast majority of my players were on our side of the pitch. They pressed us hard, they pressed us high, and I really thought it was going to slip away. I really thought they were going to pull out a draw until Eze scored in the 87th minute. So that leaves us currently in second place. Things have really kind of shaken themselves out. Let me go here to the league table this way. Man City's clinched. I mean, we're 15 points behind them. Liverpool can still jump up into second place. Chelsea can still jump up into second place. United and Arsenal are out of it. They're fighting with Everton and Newcastle for 5th and 6th places. And I believe because Norwich won the Carabao that they've got the Euro Cup game. They got the Euro Cup 2 slot, so nothing's sliding down. So it's possible that they could sneak up, and that will go to who's ever in 7th place. But if they do, or 8th place even, yeah, because if they sneak up to 7th place, no, if they sneak up to 7th place, they're qualifying for the Euro Cup. There's no way they're sneaking up to 8th place. So that's where the fight's going to be. So what we're going to do today is we're playing the Brighton game, and then we're going to do Southampton offline, or we'll do Sheffield United offline, and we'll come back for the Southampton game if necessary. So Stockbridge is out. Too many yellow cards. Everyone else is pretty darn match fit. So we've got probably one of our better 11s on the field. You'll notice I've switched Clark to a deep lying forward. It's the position that best suits his skill set. He's a better deep lying forward than he is an attacking forward. If he had some better physicals and a few better technicals, he'd be a very good complete forward. But as you can see, with a deep lying forward on attack, his dribbling, finishing, and first touch are good. His passing and his technique are good. His composure and decision making are okay. The teamwork is nice, as is the off the ball. I would like to get his decision making up a little bit. And we are training him to try and beat his opponent because he simply has the really good dribbling skill. I totally forgot to go over the lineup. So we've got a Turban goal. Kasuna, Anderson, Zagadou, Guehi is the back four. Seone, I've probably been pronouncing that wrong the entire season. Chowdhury at the midfield, Elise and Eze as the attack midfielders. Clark and Pellegrini up top as the strikers. So we're playing the derby in front of the home crowd at Selhurst. I asked the board for an overseas affiliate. They shot me down. That was last month. I'm going to try again this month. One of the things I do need to look at... What the heck was that? Okay, that's not how Brighton wanted the game to start. Ward kicked it off the line over to Cooper. Cooper went to Stevens. Stevens went to Caicedo, who's a really good midfielder. He's one of the younger wonder kids in the game. You have to load up almost everybody to get him because he plays in Central America. Holy cow, that was a screamer of a mistake by Caicedo. Podence on the corner kick, and it goes through the box. Stevens is going to run it down. Gets it back out to Caicedo. He sends it in, and Podence looks like he got a foot on it, and it went through because it was going at a fairly slow speed until it reached that cluster, and then it zoomed by Iturbe. Are they going to say somebody's offsides? No, they're not going to show it either. So... And I'll be 100% honest, I forget what I was talking about when we scored. Oh, deep lying forward. No, I went over that. Barkley got between the defenders. Iturbe, a very nice shot. He's really kind of developed. He's still 2 stars. Stockbridge has probably been our biggest improvement from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. Oh, nice clearance by Guehi. Motor over to Podence. Knocked in. Eze heads it away. It's just going to go out of bounds. If I could remember what I was talking about, I'd bring it up again. Then again, it's like 2 a.m. in the morning here. I'm in one of those, hey, just another day modes. Another reason I'm making him a deep lying forward is because he's just not that fast. Oh, off the post. Iturbe picks it up. He got lucky there. I think if I were a betting man, I would bet that Clark tops out about 13-14 at acceleration. Oh, Pellegrini avoids the tackle. Clark can't get it. Stevens up to Lamptey, who just signed a new contract with Brighton. Penalty kick in, bounce back and forth. Battaglia knocks it away, and it's sent out of bounds by Podence. Pentagna to Podence. Is he fouled? He's fouled by Zagadou. Who's taking this? Come on, Iturbe. And he blocks it. Well done. Caicedo, back to Lamptey. To Stevens. Stevens sends it all the way back to Ward. Ward to Stevens, to Lamptey. Up to Abada, over to Barkley. He turns around, gives it back to Caicedo. Battaglia is there. Iturbe with the block. Olise is going to stop it from going out of bounds. We got lucky there. Anderson. Up to Clark. Clark tries crossing it in, but Pozzolo intercepts it. Gets it back to Ward, who just bombs it forward. And, oh, that was a complete misplay by Ward again. I'm looking off because I'm trying to fix my filter here because the laptop fan went up. And they disallowed it. Why? Offsides, I guess. Well, 7 shots, 3 on target. They're 10 and 5. We have a 1-0 lead thanks to... a 2% header advantage? No, thanks to a mistake by the Brighton keeper. Oh, both my advanced midfielders are not having good games. Gracious. Eze's on a 6-3. We are going to get him off and bring on Verscheren. Fatua is back from injury, but he's not exactly match fit. Abada on the throne to Caicedo. Abada to Lamptey. Battaglia right at Iturbe. Iturbe bombs it forward. Clark's not going to win a header, but Olise. Back to Kasunu to Clark. Clark gets the ball back to Elise, passes up into space for Sharon, is there, and he pushes it just wide left. Okay, what we are going to do is bring Verscharon. We're going to switch Sayoni with Chowdhury. We're going to bring Verscharon back to deep line playmaker. We're going to move Elise to the left, get Chowdhury off, and bring on Fatuwu. You know what? We're going to get Elise off and bring on Verone. And Verone's shot misses just wide right. That was a graphic error. I didn't see him. Cut that out. Edit that out. End of the match coming up. We are clinging to a 1-0 lead. Oh, Podence. Oh, Iturbe, a very nice save. Cooper back to Podence. Stevens, back to Podence. Centers it in. Oh, and again another nice block. Who got that? I don't think that was Iturbe. I think that was off the defender. Headed away by Zagadou. Well done. Blow the whistle, ref. Motor's attempt is blocked. There's a graphics glitch going on. I see heads, but not... Okay. And that is the end of the game. That was slightly disorienting at the end there. I'm not quite sure what was going on. Brighton absolutely dominated us on shots. Their XG was 2.58. Holy cow. 2 clear-cut chances, 2 woodwork hits, 3 half chances. I think that win, depending on what happens, Champions Cup Soccer to Selhurst Park. So at worst, we got 2 games left, and we can't fall below 4th place. Iturbe stood tall in goal. Very good player of the match for him. So because we've secured qualification, there's no reason to play the last 2 games. So what I'm going to do is, once this is done, we're going to save the game here. We'll play the last 2 games, and then we'll come back to an end-of-season review, take a look at some of the off-season moves, plans for the future in terms of who to bring in, who not to bring in, what positions we need to increase our depth in, and hopefully we won't get blinded this off-season like we did last season. That would be disastrous. I'm expecting a couple of guys to leave. We'll talk about that here in a minute, back in a bit. Well, the season did not exactly end on a high note. We lost to Southampton on the last day. 1-0. We'll get there in just a second. We beat Sheffield United 2-1. We lost to Southampton 1-0 thanks to a Shea Adams goal in the 18th minute. And then after that, despite our best efforts, we could just not get anything done. It was very, very frustrating. I mean, we only had 7 shots, 2 on target. I think the guys, it was a case where they give a damn dumb broke. Eze was down on a 6-0. He was just horrible. Puligri was on a 6-3. Clark was on a 6-5. Elise was on a 6-5. And it was just one of those where we had our chances. We really did. We couldn't do anything with them. So if we look at the end of season stats right here, Puligri leads us with 27 goals. Elise had the highest rating and the most assists at 19. Anderson, best pass completion rating. Elise had 8 players of the match. Stockbridge had 16 yellow cards, which, you know, considering the fact that he's now 3-star current ability to go with his 4.5-star potential ability, and he's improved in almost every area I've wanted him to improve, I'm just going to have to learn to live with it. If we take a look at the squad and we sort by appearances, Puligri led us with 46, 2 off the bench, 27 goals, 12 assists, 4 players of the match. Sayoni had 43 appearances, 2 off the bench, 3 goals, 4 assists. Joachim Anderson, the stalwart defender, 42 appearances, 2 off the bench, 6 goals, 4 assists. Turbe, 40 appearances for a guy who I originally wanted to be my backup when I saw how good he could be, and I wanted to get him first-team playing time. 40 appearances, 2 players of the match. Elise had a really good year. 39 appearances, 12 goals, 19 assists, 8 players of the match, but he does have that release fee. If somebody does come in and offer that for him, hopefully it won't be one of the premier hopefully it won't be one of the premier teams. He does have that release fee. If somebody does come in and offer that for him, hopefully it won't be one of the premier teams. We'll have to let him go. As I got injured, he is out for about a week, but I will be transfer listing him. Hopefully he goes to one of the German teams. He's valuable, but I've got a lot of good players that I can keep, and hopefully who will turn into players as good as he is. It could be one of those things where I put him out there just to see what I can get for him. But he had 11 goals, 9 assists. Zagadou had 2 goals and 37 appearances. Andy Stockbridge, 31 appearances, 13 off the bench, 2 goals, 10 assists, 1 player of the match. Jordan Clark, my standout player of the year, the 17-year-old, who I am retraining to be a deep lying forward. They say his best role is an advanced forward, but in looking at it, it's really, really close. And considering that Tom Pierce, who is down here, is a better forward option if his concentration ever came up. They could be an up-top duo for the future, but a lot of that depends on what happens with Pierce. I'm going to loan him out, hopefully to one of my upper division affiliates this coming season, and we'll take a look at that here in a second as well. But anyways, Clark had 20 goals, 6 assists, 6 players of the match. Adam Arola, a solid campaign, 23 appearances, 2 off the bench, 3 assists rather. Riedewald took up the other appearances, 22 goals, 22 appearances, 12 off the bench, 5 assists. Chowdhury had 1 assist in 18 appearances, 10 off the bench. Fatuwu, even though he came in at the halfway mark of the season, 13 appearances, 4 off the bench, 7 goals, 6 assists. Verone, in part-time work, I probably misunderused him a lot this year. 12 goals, or 12 appearances, 12 off the bench, 9 goals, 5 assists, 3 players of the match. Who is he wanted by? Norwich. I will not be transferring him. Bauman, who I brought in to be my starter originally, but he went to the bench when Iturbe started playing more. He's here on a backup contract, so he wasn't too upset about that. He had 1 player of the match. For Sharon, in mostly a relief role, 3 goals, 3 assists, a player of the match. Perez, who I also misused, like Verone, if we're being candid. He came off the bench more often than not, but 10 appearances, 15 off the bench, 4 goals, 3 assists, a player of the match. And then Malatini had limited appearances, and that's pretty much it. If we look at the guys whose contracts are expiring at the end of the season, it's going to be just the top 4 players. So Leslie Walters, Lamel, and Ferguson. Ferguson, I'm probably gonna let go. He's 23 years old now, and he's just never come close to getting that 3.5 to 4-star potential. Depends on which coach is looking at him. If we look at some of the youngsters, Fisher, we might let go. Sam Osei, we might let go. Joaquin Anderson is wanted if I get my money's worth, which in this case is anywhere from 42 to 46 million. I would let Anderson go. Sayoni was solid for us. I need, you know what? Let's go here. And we've got them all on. So Pellegrini, Verone, Perez, Fatuwu can play striker, but it's going to be Pellegrini and Pierce next season unless Pellegrini is wanted, which I don't think he will be. But he turned into a capable replacement for Mateta. We may not have gotten Mateta's production, but that meant that was spread about. Olise for Sharon and Verone will be my left backs, or my advanced midfielders on the left, especially if Eze leaves. Fatuwu is going to take over the right. Olise can play on the right, but Verone and Perez can play there too, so I do have some depth there. If we do lose Sayoni, Eze could be quite the capable replacement for him, which is something to consider. Plus, if we have him on support, his aggression, or lack thereof, isn't really going to come into play. Tries tricks, likes the ball at the feet, tries to beat the opponent, runs with the ball often. If we compare him to, he's not the defender, which is a concern. Plus, the injuries are a concern as well. Defensively, Zagadou, Guehi, I would keep Riedewald. Adam Arola is going to be the starter. Zagadou's in the center with Anderson, unless Anderson leaves, and I'm positive I can find a replacement for him on the market. That's the other thing we need to get to, is how much of this market are we going to keep? Or how much of this budget are we going to keep? Currently, it's 105 million, and we've got 800,000 payroll to play with. So that's the other thing that's really kind of cool when you think about it. We have the 19th lowest payroll, or we have the next to the bottom lowest payroll in the league. Which is, yeah, we have the 19th lowest payroll in the league, and we just finished 4th. And it was a fight for 2nd through 4th. I mean, it was one of the, if we'd won, we would have finished 2nd, but I wasn't too upset by it because I knew we'd qualified for European football. Fulham, West Brom, and Leeds going down is a bit of a bummer. But one of the things we can also look at is, like, if we look at their starting 11, okay, Adebayo's 26, but he could be worth a replacement if Anderson leaves. Likewise, Papa Cisse, probably not because he's 28. Or we look at West Brom. Harwood Bellis is 22 and has some potential. Gigo, not so much. He's 30 years old. If we look at Leeds, surprised I don't have him scouted. But he's a 3.5-star ball-playing defender at 25 years old. It was 13 to 21 million. He could be a possibility. Lorente is 30 years old, so... The club doesn't want me to sign anybody over 23, but if it's somebody like Valenti, who is 25 and can bring value to the team, I think they would be okay with that. He just signed a new contract, so he's probably got some sell-on fees. We'll have to take a look at that. We'll do the press conference here real quick. Get to the end of the day. Then hopefully somewhere in here is when we will get our end-of-season report and our budget for next year. Fulham fell. Livermore did have a good game. At the beginning of the season, I talked about how I thought we might actually fall down to mid-table. I really wasn't expecting to lose some of the players that we lost last season, Bayandar in particular. I knew there was a chance Mateta was going to leave, even though he was... I knew there was a chance Mateta was going to leave. That's why I opened contract negotiations with him, and he still left. That was a kick in the pants. Just frustrating as all get out. So I'm hoping the same thing doesn't happen this year. What I need to do, I got Pierce signed to a new contract, but he doesn't have a release clause, but I'm reasonably sure I can keep him, and he won't be too upset. Fatu, they're calling it a C+. Kasunu was really good. Was a really good pickup for us. The former Bayer player had a solid season for us. Turbe, a C-, C. Stockbridge was an A, of course. For Sharon was a C. I told the board we finished top half. We finished fourth. They're thrilled with that. So we had a little bit of a rough patch in March. And we had some games where... Last season, it was a case of we were drawing games we should have won. This season, I think it was a case we lost games we should have drawn. So our biggest win was 6-0 against Leicester. Our match I remember was the 2-1 against West Brom. The goal of the season, they're calling Clark's goal. This is the... Yeah, hopefully we can see this. This is the one where he dribbled the ball from our half up the left side. This has got to be a skin thing, because you should be able to click on the goal, and it'll take you right to that one. So let's see what happens here. It's going to be the third goal of the game, which we should be able to get to. Or not. So that's the Mbappe goal near post. And that's the Fatu goal from distance. The next one here is going to be the Clark goal. So he picks the ball up just before the halfway mark. Runs all the way forward and just absolutely powers it in from the top of the box. And then, of course, Man City turned it on and scored 5 more goals. I think Clark's scoring was kind of an insult to them. Our broadcast revenue was down. That's interesting because we played Europa League games this year. Our annual revenue was up. Our sponsorship and corporate money was up. Everything else was up except our broadcast revenue. That's very interesting. This is our lineup for most of the season, although next season this will be reversed. Clark is going to be where Pellegrini is. Fatu is going to be where Olise is. Eze could drop down to Seone's spot. Kasunu had a very good season for us. You know a defender has a really good season for you when you don't talk a lot about them. Usually when you talk a lot about them, that means they've done a lot of things wrong, or they've done something extraordinarily well over the entire course of the season, like, leading the team in goals or assists or something like that. So Michael Olise was the fans player of the season and the young player of the season. The signing of the season was Iturbe. The goal of the season was Clark. We watched that. Pellegrini had 27 goals. Olise had 19 assists and 8 players of the match, a 7.5 rating. Anderson completed 75 passes every 90 minutes. Iturbe set the record for shutouts. I did not realize that. The Fatua was our highest transfer fee. Bayandar, him leaving was just... it was annoying. Although he had a very solid season for United. 35 appearances, allowed 39 goals, 13 shutouts, a 7.03 rating. And if we compare him with Iturbe, he's heads and tails better. but they got their money's worth. Turvey had 27 starts, 37 goals allowed, 2 players of the match, and 7.27 rating. So from a statistical point of view, he was better. All things being equal, though, and this is not a slight against Turvey, I would have much rather had Alte this season. Jordan Clark was picked as part of the best 11. Stockbridge, Turvey, Kasunu as well. Guiada's still playing. I think he retired. No, he's a coach. Tompkins became a coach too. Not a very good one. End of season. Okay, we finished top 4. Tell them we'll qualify for the Euro Cup. Good accounting of ourselves. Don't have any promises I need to fulfill now. However, what I do want to do is, if we go here and look at affiliates. So Bromley's League 2, Coventry's League 1, Dulwich is Vanarama South, Fleetwood and Stevenage are both League 2. I wouldn't mind a Vanarama club, because I got some players who I think would be better off in a national than they would be a League 2 team, but we'll see what happens. With some very good relationships at the end of the year. If you actually switch, Clark and Pellegrini actually had a good relationship as well. Willis had 8 injuries. Eze had 7. Squad end of season break. Training camp destination is going to be Germany. I'm okay accepting this current vision. I didn't see anything about our budgets. Did I miss that? Sometimes it gets to a point where you see so many things in your inbox. The initial budgets. That is our budget. 1.9 million, a transfer budget of 105. When did they send that in? On the 4th. Holy cow, no wonder I missed it. That is wild. Okay, well, we definitely have a bunch of wiggle room then. So what we are going to do, once this gets done, take a look at some of the other leagues here. Madrid beat Barcelona, PSG pipped Lyon. Brazil just started up. Wow, Milan's 10 points ahead of Juve. That's not a good thing. Bayern is still dominating the league, and they won this season too. 14 points ahead of Wolfsburg. Who's Wolfsburg got? Dembele, Gapco, who's their coach? Michael Frontzek. I do not know that name. That's my own fault. Looks like he's their head coach in real life. Good for him. Clark gets a salary hike. We got an improved youth rating. That's the other thing we're looking at is this is the 3rd year in. A lot of the people I signed, their contracts are expiring. A lot of the scouts have improved. As a matter of fact, we're going to go to the table. We're going to sort by job. And then look at the mentals. So here's ability, here's potential. So Soren was 18 and 20. Now he's 20 and 20. Badra was 11-11. Now he's 12-12. Acosta was 14-14. Now he's 15-15. Sikovic hasn't changed, but that's okay. Valls hasn't changed. That's okay. Lee Jung-min, who I hired, is now my agent scout. He was 14-15. Now he's 15-17. Santos was 17-17. Now he's 18-17. Cruz was 17-19, now he's 17-20. Canepa stayed the same. Kasprak stayed the same. Chris Jones was 16-16, now he's 18-18. Tremola was 15-15, now he's 16-16. Minivel, who I talked about having probably the greatest improvement just because of his adaptability more than anything else, is he started out at 11-10, now he's 14-11. And if we look at him, his knowledge, especially in all the countries kind of surrounding his original area, which was, well, he was Central Africa. You know, his knowledge of the countries is growing by leaps and bounds. And then Maturo is 18-18, or Maturana was 18-18, where he was 16-18. Hjelmberg is 17-16, where he was 16-16. Hakeem is 15-14. I don't expect that'll change. And Abdul Karim is 11-10, where he was 10-9. And he was the one who was Nigeria, and he stayed mostly in Nigeria because they have a really good youth rating. Burkina Faso, Guinea, Togo. He was the guy who I sent out to look at some of the African regions, new gens who came across the board. Hunt is my chief scout. He was 15-18. I know he's my chief scout because of the asterisks. And that's pretty much it. Friedman, I probably am not going to keep his contract. Nicky Butt, I have him on as my technical director. And who's my loan manager? Finn Mullet is my loan manager. He's really good, but he's also a pain in the freaking rear because I had guys I wanted to send out on loan and he wouldn't because the loan doesn't meet my valuation of the player. And I was like, dude, I just want him to get playing time. Okay? That's what we're looking for. Playing time. If we look at my under 23 squad, the top 3 guys are probably going to be leaving. But like Fisher, I need to get out on loan. White, if I get an offer for him, I might have him go. Verone is not on the under 23s. Why is he on the under 23s? Is she just listed for the under 23s? Cervase, I can't get a work permit for him. He got capped, but I don't think it's going to be enough. But he's got potential, so I'm more than okay trying to loan him out again. He was one of the ones that I couldn't get loaned out because Finn wouldn't accept any offers for him. There needs to be a way to override that. Well, there is a way. You take your loan manager off responsibility for finding loans, which is not the workaround you want. Sean Smith, I will... Well, wait a minute. Let me double check something here. Yeah, it's the top 2 whose contracts are expiring. Fisher's wanted. I will probably let him move just simply because he's not improving in the areas I want him to improve. His determination hasn't come up, which is annoying. I don't think he'll ever come close to meeting that 3-star potential. Osei, I'll try and send out on loan again. Hobson, I'll keep on the 16s. I need to send out on loan. He started out at Coventry, but I need to get him like first team playing time somewhere. This is where a national team as an affiliate would be great because I can just send him down and say, hey, make this kid your first team goalkeeper. And he would probably be better than anyone they have. Because like as an example, Dulwich is my Vanarama South squad. And let's say, okay, Granger's out of contract. But let's say they re-sign him. Well, just by looking at that right there, I can already tell, I mean, Idu's better. Can I go to attributes? He's got better area reach. He's got better command of area. He's better in handling. He's got decent reflexes. He's better physically. It looks like. I mean, yeah, we're not seeing anything here, but we can use this as a guessing point, even if this is halfway. Or, you say that's 4 to 10. Well, that's 6. So you add 3, that's 7. And you can up that to 8. Well, he's still better. Maybe I can get him to Dulwich as the first team keeper there. Richard Sassu is gray, but he's 46 years old and unavailable. That's interesting. So it's going to be a decent amount of time. Pierce, going to move to the senior squad, get him playing time on the wing next year. I think that would be better. I'm going to move him to the senior squad, but I'm also going to see if I can't loan him out to, like, Coventry. And then... Boateng's interesting. I think a lot of the youth players who don't have potential, I will try and move. But at the same time, you look at the teams that want them and you say, okay. So, plus we'll trawl the players that are released, the free agents, the guys out of contract, and see if we can't find some hidden gems. So this episode's actually run really kind of long. I've been rambling for a while, and given that it's 3:30 in the morning, it's easy to understand why. But a solid finish to the season. I tend to be very pessimistic at the beginning of the season of our chances, and that happened again this time as well. I thought we were going to finish mid-table, especially given the losses, but some of the guys we brought in really performed above their level. Part of me says not to expect that next season as well, but that's just the pessimist in me coming out, like I said again. I think next season we can definitely qualify for top... I think next season we can definitely qualify for top 6 again. I think unless Man City loses a bunch of people, getting first place is going to be hard. I mean, they would have to suffer some injuries or some other things like that, and I just don't see that happening anytime in the near future. But, we need to win the Prem. We need to win the Champions League. We got 4 years left doing it. We have 4 years left to do it, starting next year. The first 3 seasons have gone about like I expected. We've progressed up the league. We've gotten rid of our older players. We've gotten capable replacements in for them. Now it's just a matter of teams are going to rate us like they did last season. Can the players we bring in come close to matching their output? Pellegrini did a credible job this year of matching Mateta's output. We lost Edward. Crawford did a really good job of replacing Edward's output. He wasn't the same, but he was quite good. And then we lost Mitchell. Admirola did a capable job. We can see what Mitchell did. 23 appearances, 3 assists, and that was pretty much it. He was a part-time starter. Bayandar, we know, had a great season. Edward, what did Edward do? Edward didn't hardly play because Bayern's got Karim Adeyemi up top. And Musiala and Gnabry, Muller's in the center. I mean, they're good enough they loaned out Xerxes, for crying out loud. So yeah, he was on their B squad, which we got money for him. Certainly not going to complain. But last season, 22 goals. Crawford came close. So yeah, it was a good season. Things are progressing well. They're not exactly going to plan, but Custer had a plan too. I say that a lot. The ball is round. It has a mind of its own sometimes, and the FM gods can be fickle. Like when they have Southampton beat us 1-0 in the last game of the season to drop us down to the 4th spot. But you know what? That's still Champions League football, and I'm hoping we can make a good showing of ourselves next season. So that said, if you did like what you've seen tonight, please hit a like, subscribe to the channel for more content, questions, criticisms, comments. Leave those down below. I will answer those as fast as I can. My name is FM Jellicoe. I'm going to bed, and I thank you for watching.